It's a pleasure to have you join me on this virtual journey. Welcome. Greetings, explorers of knowledge. Join us as we embark on a quest to understand the Blossoms. The Blossoms are an American girl group that originated from California. During their height of success in the years, the group's lineup most famously consisted of Darlene Love, Fanita James, and Gene King. Although the group had a recording career in their own right, they were most famous for being the group to actually record the no-hit He's a Rebel, which producer Phil Spector credited to the Crystals, and for providing backing vocals for many of the biggest hits of the years. In this chapter, we'll be shedding light on early years and its role in shaping our understanding. Their career began in Los Angeles, California, United States, while still in high school in 1954. Originally, the group was a sextet of young girls singing for fun. Calling themselves the Dreamers, the group originally sang spirituals, since two of the members had parents who were against their daughters singing secular rhythm and blues music, which was popular on the radio during the early years. Fanita Barrett, later known as Fanita James, Gloria A. Jones, not to be confused with Gloria R. Jones of Tainted Love fame, Joel Cobbs, Pat Howard, and twin sisters Annette and Nanette Williams all came from musical backgrounds. The twins had taken vocal and dancing lessons as youngsters. Fanita's brother Ronald was already a success with his vocal group, the Meadowlarks. The Dreamers were introduced to local musicians through Dexter Tisby, then successful with his own group the Penguins, who had a hit with Earth Angel. The Dreamers joined Richard Berry in the studio and, during 1955 and 1956, made several recordings for Flair and RPM Records. Among them was a version of Harry Warren and Mac Gordon's At Last and several of Richard Berry's compositions, Together, Wait for Me, and Daddy, Daddy. The Dreamers gained attention as versatile singers and began to get studio work singing backup for other artists, as well as recording a few singles of their own as the Dreamers. The Dreamers signed with Capitol Records, where one of the executives, noticing their different skin tones, said they looked like a bouquet, which is how they became the Blossoms. Even though signing to Capitol was considered a step up, the group's stay at Capitol was short, yielding only 3 singles, none of which made the charts. The Blossoms also underwent significant changes at this time. By 1958, Nanette Williams was married, pregnant, and planning a leave of absence from the group. Darlene Wright, later known as Darlene Love, replaced Nanette and was selected to be the lead, which the ensemble-based Blossoms had not previously had. The addition of Wright changed the style of the group, but chart success was still elusive, despite Wright's unique presence as lead on songs like No Other Love for Capitol in 1958, Sugar Beat for RCA as the Playgirls in 1960, and Write Me a Letter for Challenge in 1961. The group provided backup vocals to Sam Cooke's 1959 hit, Everybody Loves to Cha-Cha-Cha. Brace yourself for a deep dive into the years as we explore its impact and relevance in our evolving narrative. During the summer of 1962, the Blossoms were finally successful on the charts, although their biggest hit song, He's a Rebel, was not credited to them. Producer Phil Spector had learned that Vicky Carr was soon to record He's a Rebel for Liberty Records as her debut single, and decided he had to rush his own version to stores. Since the Crystals, his biggest girl group at the time, were touring on the East Coast at the time, the Blossoms were instead brought in to record the track. However, when Spector released the record, the song was instead credited to the Crystals, much to the dismay of the actual Crystals. The Blossoms, in turn, received only a meager session fee. Darlene Love states they were paid triple scale and are not credited for contributing to the record. The song peaked at No on the Billboard Hot 100 and firmly established Spector as a force in the music industry. Over the next 3 years, the Blossoms, with Wright as lead, would be the favored singers on all of Spector's sessions recorded in California. Wright and Barrett sang with Bobby Sheen as Bobby Sox and the Blue Jeans. This combo achieved hit singles for Spector, including a version of the Disney song Zip-a-Dee-Doo-Dah. Spector also used the Blossoms as the prime backing group for the Righteous Brothers' You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin', which was a no-hit in 1964 in the US and in the UK. Helping out with the crescendo was Cher, who had previously sung for Spector on recordings by the Ronettes, including Be My Baby, which also featured the Blossoms. Although the Blossoms were attempting to establish themselves as primary artists, they still contributed backing vocals behind many of the biggest hits of the eras, including Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Pickett and Shelley Faber's Johnny Angel, and the Blossoms' lead singer writes solo efforts which included He's Sure the Boy I Love, although again Spector credited the song to the Crystals. Fabers has said that her strongest memory of that recording session was the beautiful voices of the backup singers. In 1964, the group was reduced to a trio of Right Now Love, Barrett Now James, and newcomer Gene King, and were featured part of a relatively successful weekly rock and roll television program called Shindig. The Blossoms used their vocal versatility to their advantage, singing in various styles behind a cross-section of artists, including Patty Duke, Shelley Fabers, Jackie Wilson, Aretha Franklin, and Marvin Gaye. The Blossoms appeared in TAMI show providing backup vocals and dancing for all of Marvin Gaye's songs. Their name appeared in the opening credits, but they were not introduced. They are later seen at stage left, encouraging an exhausted James Brown to take the stage one last time after his climactic performance of Night Train with his singing group, the famous Flames. In 1966, they provided background vocals on Ike and Tina Turner's River Deep Mountain High. In 1968, they appeared in Elvis Presley's TV special, popularly known as The Comeback. The Blossoms also provided backing vocals for Doris Day's Move Over, Darling from the film of the same name. They resumed recording under their own name later in the years for labels such as Reprise, Ode, and MGM. While with Ode, they recorded a pop-gospel version of Lauren Nyro's Stony End, which was first released in 1967 as the B-side to the wonderful single, and then again in 1969 as an A-side single. They recorded their only album, Shockwave, in 1972 for Lion Records. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of Present. Love left the Blossoms in 1974 and King died of a heart attack in Las Vegas in 1983. James kept the Blossoms going with varying personnel, backing Tom Jones, and performing on the Las Vegas circuit until 1990, when she became a backing singer for Doris Kenner Jackson of the Shirelles. Love stayed out of the music business for about 5 years after a brief reunion with Phil Spector in late 1974. She made a comeback in 1981 and 2 years later was starring in Leader of the Pack, the Broadway musical based on the life of songwriter Ellie Greenwich. Love began a film acting career portraying Trish in the Lethal Weapon movie series. She also had her own one-woman show, Darlene Love, Portrait of a Woman, which was performed at the Bottom Line in New York City. Love is also remembered for her hit Christmas Baby Please Come Home from the 1963 album A Christmas Gift for You from Phil Spector. Following Doris Kenner Jackson's death in 2000 from breast cancer, James revived the Blossoms with original member Gloria Jones and a new third member. In 2013, the Blossoms, namely Love, James, Wright, and Jones were highlighted in the Oscar-winning documentary 20 Feet from Stardom, in which it was revealed that they had also sung backing vocals for Bobby Boris Pickett's Monster Mash, Frank Sinatra's version of That's Life, and Betty Everett's The Shoop Shoop song It's in His Kiss. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of members as we examine its impact and relevance. Fanita James, Present Gloria Jones, Present Annette Williams, Nanette Williams, Jewel Cobbs 1954, Pat Howard 1954, Darlene Love, Grotchenich, Edna Wright, Carolyn Willis, Gene King. Get ready for an enlightening exploration as we dig into filmography and understand its role in the broader context. Year Film Roll 2013, 20 Feet from Stardom Background Singers. Your feedback helps me improve, so please take a moment to leave a comment or review.